What's going on, everybody? Welcome. Okay, we're gonna take two.
I'm so sorry, dude.
No, I started and then I lost my train of thought. What's going on, everybody? All right, for real this time. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Citizens Gaming Podcast. I'm Tim.
Hey, this is Josh.
And I'm Brenden.
So today's going to be yet again another news episode. The news just does not stop coming out. So of course we're going to cover it. One of the first things to really drop that came out was, we kind of hinted towards it at the last episode, but Cyberpunk 2077 has actually released its next gen update.
Yeah, it finally released this next gen update. Because I guess it's been one of the the luring things people have been waiting for, just because the community for Cyberpunk's been so divided since its launch. You know, it's broken launch and whatnot. So everybody's just been kind of obsessing and waiting for this to come out. But what was it? It was, I think, was it Tuesday that they did the live stream?
Yeah, February 15th.
Yep.
And because they just
dropped that day. Yeah.
Yeah, because
They announced the stream, and then on stream they're like, boom, next gen updates out today. Here's us playing it for the next 45 minutes, and then it was like them showing off all the new improvements and.
Yep. Well, because I know it was Monday. It leaked, kinda, and they didn't leak.
No, they announced the stream. Yeah, they're like, hey, tune in tomorrow.
And then what leaked the possibility of the next gen version coming out relatively soon was apparently, and I can confirm this, in the Xbox store. If you have next gen Xbox, they updated the Cyberpunk picture with an X and S logo, which means, next gen. And that started Monday before the stream, so people are kind of freaking out. I was freaking out.
I was really excited about it also. Of course, I hadn't downloaded Cyberpunk on my Xbox yet, and so as soon as once Josh told me about it, of course I went and downloaded it. That was a whole nother debacle, because when you downloaded the game, it didn't automatically push the update for it. So when I got home and I was able and ready to play, well, then I had to push the update for it in its own, but I got it ironed out and enjoying it.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
it's better that than what some PlayStation users have had to go through.
Yeah, a lot of people, because I heard with PlayStation, a lot of I think this has been an ongoing thing for PlayStation. Honestly, a lot of users were having issues downloading the correct version of the game.
Well, it's because it's a completely separate version of the game. Like, it's a completely different file. Like, it didn't just update the old one. Like on PlayStation 5, you literally have to download an entirely new download and delete your old one.
Yeah, and then I believe users were having issues downloading that when they found it as well for some.
Oh, I'm sure the servers were just jammed with everybody trying to download.
Well, no, not even that. Like, you were supposed to be able to transfer your save over, and people were having trouble doing that. And then some people just had trouble, even like Josh was saying, accessing that new version. Like, it was supposed to just automatically read hey, you paid for Cyberpunk already, and then you were supposed to be able to just go download this new version.
Yeah.
But because it was a new file and everything, it hit a bunch of hiccups for PlayStation users, and it was. I mean, I don't know if they've all been resolved now. I think they're working on it. I think they've gotten some of it down, and some people, just kind of had to brute force their way into it. But I mean, Xbox, you literally just needed to download it, and it was just easy peasy. Same with PC. Just a quick, well, not quick because it was a huge update, but an easy download. But PlayStation has had all this trouble with it. But
That
aside from that, like the update is going over very well.
It is. I mean, I could read off a few of its quality of life improvements for the game itself, its next gen version. I mean, it got new weapons, additional apartments for purchase, because a lot of people were complaining about the lack of, I mean, what you would imagine a personalized video game to, like, your to your character's choices, to like your outfit, to whatnot. A lot of things that people expected to be in the game weren't in the game. So they added a bunch of that stuff next to, like, a bunch of visual improvements, ray tracing, a bunch of crowd person. I don't know what the best way to word this is. They edited a lot of the NPCs to react more realistically to gun violence and just things of that nature. So there was a lot of quality of life improvements to the game, and it's noticeable because I've been replaying it.
yeah,
Well, yeah, it wasn't even. It's not even just visual stuff. They actually did a lot of tweaks. Like they redid a bunch of the skill trees. Like if I went and logged in and played, like I apparently my entire skill tree would be reset, and I'd have to reassign all my perk points and shit because they just
Yeah, that's true.
completely
Yep.
redid a lot of those skill trees
that's not
to
a
get rid of junk and redo some other stuff and make some more stuff better and yada yada.
that's
Yeah, well, because
not
they
a
also
bad
they
thing.
also
Oh
no,
no,
it,
not at
it
all.
isn't because it was very the original skill tree was very confusing for a lot of people. So and there was a lot of things. I believe there was a lot of things in the skill tree that weren't working correctly or things like that. So they kind of re-engineered it and made it make more sense, which I've noticed. Along with, I mean, even I guess besides just like even the skill tree work, they even rebalanced and changed looks of some NPCs that you interact with in missions. Like they overhauled the NPCs, changed their look drastically. I know there's one character that people have noticed that they overhauled completely and changed his entire look. And who knows what other, because it's only been out for a couple of days now. So who knows what else people are going to discover, to what they've changed and whatnot.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're already talking about actual like future paid DLC. That's their next big hurdle now that this next gen version is out. Uh,
And
and seems to be running smoothly without any real issues.
And Brendan, me and you were talking about this yesterday. For just the sake of mentioning it, and this probably also means with with its launch issues and with them kind of like rebalancing, pushed out this update and you know focusing on future content. I would imagine this might push back that multiplayer we mentioned. Me and you were mentioning the other day.
There was originally a multiplayer component that was supposed to come out separately, but there's also rumors that that might have been just dropped completely, um, just because there wasn't a lot of interest. Um, and then yeah, with the launch the way it was, they had to dump a lot of work into updating and patching and fixing the game.
I,
Um,
I th-
but we don't know. We don't know if it's still happening. It's still kind of under wraps. Um, I don't know. I
I
guess it'd
th-
be kind of fun, but at the same time, like I didn't play Cyberpunk because I wanted to play with friends.
I think that if they add in multiplayer, it's gonna be too much like Grand Theft Auto.
uh, I mean, there's probably some truth to that. I mean, that's the thing is
Yeah.
they never really clarified on what it was. Like they said that in theory there'd be some like co-op elements and you would like tackle jobs around the city, but at the same time they also then said there would be like a competitive element and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, well, which is it? Like, what is the point of this multiplayer that you were proposing? Because I don't know what it is. It sounds like they don't either. So
I mean,
it's
yeah.
still up in the air. Friggin' Nintendo Direct or Nintendo just decided to drop everything basically
Future
in the space
plans.
of. I mean, in all this acquisition news, Nintendo sort of just proved why they don't need to buy anybody. Like their Nintendo Direct is literally just stuff coming out over like mostly the next like 3 to 4 months, like until summer. I mean, with a few teases later on, but like they dropped announcements for like 20 games or something like that.
What?
And oh yeah, like it was huge.
the only thing I noticed was something related to Mario Kart. But other than that, I did not pay much mind or attention to what I should have. What all did
Well,
they announce?
well, yeah. So I mean, one of the big things was that DLC for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on Switch. Uh, it's coming in 6 waves. Each wave gets I think was it? I think it was 8 courses, something like that.
8 courses for like a wave? Okay.
Well, yeah. So the total thing is gonna be 48 courses in 6 separate drops. The first one coming in March, um, and they'll all be out by the end of 2023. It's only $25, and they're all old Mario Kart courses.
Oh, no way.
Um,
Isn't there
so,
already 48 naturally in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe?
yeah,
And they're adding another 48?
because the original Mario Kart 8 came out on Wii U and had a good amount of tracks, and then they released DLC tracks for that and bumped it up. Um,
Oh,
and yeah, now they're adding a bunch of new stuff. Like it by the time it's over, it's gonna have like I think the math was it'll have at least like half of all of Mario Kart's tracks in it.
yeah.
Like from every Mario Kart ever, it's gonna have almost half the tracks.
That's going to be amazing. All right, updated, of course, right? I would
Yeah,
imagine.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's all gonna run in Mario Kart 8 on that engine, and they'll be remixed and work within the Mario Kart 8
I'm
setup.
big into Mario Kart, so that's awesome because I take the Switch when I'm picking up my nephew from school. So I sit there just kind of like trying to gold star all the tracks on every CC difficulty. So that's cool. I'm stoked for that.
Yeah. And whether or not this at least pushes back. There was rumors about Mario Kart 9 coming out. So whether or not this pushes that back, or if this is sort of like a
That
pseudo Mario Kart 9, because I mean it's basically a whole nother game of
yeah
courses
yeah.
within. Um, and it's only gonna be $25, and or if you buy the Nintendo Switch online expansion, the one's like $50 a year, you get it free with that.
Is there
Uh,
any other characters they could possibly add? I mean, was that mentioned or?
I don't think they're adding new characters. That was rumored for Mario Kart 9, is that the future of Mario Kart is going to be a bit more like Super Smash Brothers, where they're just going
Yeah
to throw in a bunch of, you know, Nintendo properties and have them race carts. Because I mean, you get
yeah.
Link's in Mario Kart
He's
8
in this
Deluxe.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He has the different skins. He has the OG skin, his Breath of Wild skin. But yeah, Link is in it.
Yeah, that was probably one of the bigger ones they announced. I mean, they also announced Splatoon 3 launches this summer with their co-op mode is coming back. They announced the new Mario Strikers, which is their like Mario
Oh
Sports
yeah.
Soccer.
Yeah, I
Um,
saw a lot of footage of people freaking out over that because that hasn't been out in a while, right? When was the
they
last
had
one?
not since the Wii.
Ah, yeah,
Uh,
that's well then, yeah.
and even then, the Wii one I think was more just a remix of the one they had on GameCube. Like they just kind of updated that a bit and relaunched it on the Wii.
Yeah. Oh
Uh,
heck, they even announced a new Wii Sport or Nintendo Sports, not Wii Sports,
well,
right?
I mean, it's a sequel to Wii Sports. They're just calling it like Nintendo Switch Sports.
Okay. Dude, I'm
Um,
actually pretty stoked for that,
yeah,
honestly.
it comes out late April. Um, and it's what is it? There's 6 sports. It's actually only going to be $40, which is nice.
Oh wow,
Um,
okay.
what is it? It's uh, tennis, bowling, shoot, badminton. Um,
Archery, maybe? No.
I don't think archery's back.
Damn.
I think they changed the name of it, but like the fencing is back.
Oh, okay, cool.
Um, there's like 6 sports. Again, it's only gonna be $40, which is pretty cool. I was a little worried they were gonna try to charge 60.
That is
Um,
pretty cool. That's not
for
bad at all.
what is basically half a game. Like,
It,
not that it isn't fun, but it's mostly just a party thing. You're not really gonna
yeah.
It's not like you're gonna play it for some crazy in-depth story or anything.
Well, I imagine and I hope we probably see future, you know, updates giving us more game modes and stuff.
Maybe they've been doing that. Nintendo's been doing that a lot lately. Like the Mario Golf that came out last year got
Mm.
updated multiple times with a couple of free characters and a couple of free courses. So I think they
Yeah,
did say they were going to add some stuff down the road.
well, because I know on the Nintendo Wii, it almost the Wii Sports got sort of a sequel with that Wii Resort, and they kind of like update when they updated the the motion controller with that
Yeah,
attachment.
the
So
Wii
I
Motion Plus.
would I couldn't not see them not giving us more stuff in the future for that. I would hope we
Could be.
would get yeah.
Um, yeah, they also like the Ezio collection just came to Switch. That got
Yep.
announced. Uh, they were the ones who broke the uh, Chrono Cross remaster, which I mean it's a really big deal, honestly. Like people have been demanding a remaster of that game for a very long time. It's a beloved JRPG from like the PS1 era.
Oh wow.
Um, so that is they are the ones who got to break that news. It is coming to everything, but the fact that that was on a Nintendo Direct was a pretty big deal.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Um, yeah, we're also getting remasters of the first two Front Mission games later this year. They announced a release date for Advance Wars Reboot Camp, which is a remake of the first two Advance Wars games.
Mm.
Uh, we're getting a new Fire Emblem Warriors. No Man's Sky is coming to Switch this summer finally.
And that just
Uh,
received an update too, I believe.
yeah, and so it's going to come with all of the updates and stuff. What I don't think they said anything about it being like crossplay or anything. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't have crossplay because Hello Games is a very small team.
Yeah,
Um,
which they've achieved a lot. I mean,
oh
they've
yeah,
yeah they
they've
they set the bar for. I mean, a lot of games inspired by them. I know what you could even say that the upcoming Bethesda game. Oh, I'm spacing.
Starfield.
Starfield.
Starfield is drawing some inspiration from what they did. Plus that unfinished game that that will never be finished on PC. What is that called?
Star Citizen.
Yeah, Star Citizen.
There's one of these days we'll probably it'll probably mostly just be me. I'll have to rant about that game.
It's all right. You let Josh and I have our rant about Call of Duty. You can have that one.
It's there's been some developments in that realm too recently, but I'll skip it for now. But yeah, they also announced the release date for Kirby and the Forgotten Land coming out March 25th. Kingdom Hearts Cloud version, so you can play all the Kingdom Hearts games through the cloud on Switch now, like
Oh wow.
literally today.
That cloud thing is what brought like assess the Ezio. That cloud thing is a major thing, huh? It's bringing
Uh,
a lot of these other platform games, right, to the
it's
Switch.
oh yeah, it's what's helping them uh, not making their hardware less uh, important. Because that's the thing with the cloud is, it kind of doesn't matter what device it's running on entirely,
Yeah,
because it's being pulled off of a server that can run it. Um, I mean, it's cloud gaming is in theory like the future, because then you can just kind of play on whatever. But we're still early days, and it still definitely has its issues.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's cool that that you can do that. Yeah, Disney Speedstorm, some like Mario Kart Disney ripoff thing is coming out later this year on everything. Be free to play with crossplay and cross
Um,
progression supposedly. Uh, oh yeah, and yeah, MLB The Show this year will have full crossplay and cross progression uh,
wow, no way.
on
Okay.
all systems. Yeah.
Didn't
Uh,
21 have crossplay also?
um, I don't know. I don't
I
remember.
thought it did, but I could be wrong.
It
Because
might
I don't
I think
remember.
I played like half of one game and then I stopped playing.
have. Well, I mean, even
Yes.
that, it's a bigger deal now, especially since, again, you can play it on the Switch. So in theory, I
Right.
mean, it still sucks because you'd have to buy the game twice, but you could, theoretically buy it on, whatever system you wanted to play it on, and then buy it on the Switch. And then you can play on the go, when you're supposed to be working or whatever the hell you want to do with it. And then come home and turn around and play it on your, PC. And then, play it on your, console. And then, you can play it PlayStation or your Xbox or
Oh, so
whatever the
that's
hell.
what they mean by cross progression. That's freaking
Yeah.
neat.
It-
Okay.
yes. I mean, crossplay is like, you can play on a Switch and play with somebody on, PlayStation or
Right.
whatever. Cross progression means that, yeah, you'll be able to transfer your save data, profile stuff over between each version of the game, assuming you have multiple versions. Again, you will still need to buy it on each separate console, but uh, if you do that, you will at least have the advantage of not having to start all the way over again or have, multiple different things where you're at different levels of progression or whatever.
Right.
Um, which is pretty cool,
That is.
especially now again that it's on the Switch and you can do that on the go.
Yeah.
Both Portal games are coming to Switch, Portal 1 and 2, with all the updates and DLC and stuff. We are getting Metroid Dread's getting free updates for difficulty levels. Live Alive, a game that literally has never existed outside of Japan, is getting released later this year on Switch. Again, it's one of those things that's just kind of a relic of the past of a game that just never got released outside of Japan for whatever reason, and it's achieved a bit of a cult status over here in America. Specifically because of that, people would import it and play it, and there's like fan translations and shit.
Oh, okay.
So, okay, real quick, what console is that on then? Is that on like a Japan specific country console, or did they play it on like PlayStation 1, but it was only ever
Uh,
released in Japan?
it was only ever released in Japan. Well, so old consoles were region locked.
Right.
Um, everything before like Xbox One, PlayStation 4 generation was region locked, in some way or another. Um, it was originally on the Super Nintendo, I want to say. I might be wrong about that. And in the old days, like on those older ones, the region locks were a bit simpler. Like for example, the one on the Nintendo 64, if you want to unregion lock your N64, all you have to do is take out these two little tabs that are inside the actual like cartridge tray, and
Oh wow.
that's how they region locked it. That's all. So if you want a Japanese N64, you literally just need to take these two things out, and then all the Japanese cartridges will work.
Interesting.
Um,
That's
yeah,
cool. I actually have an N64 sitting right here. No way.
but
Okay.
then but once we got into the internet age, they could do it digitally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so this will be like it's a very big deal that a game that again never existed before is coming to. As far as we know, it's only on Switch. They didn't really say if it was coming to other stuff, but at least Switch. Nintendo's online service, Nintendo Switch Online or whatever, where you get uh, NES, SNES games, and then if you buy the expansion thing, you can get 64 and Genesis games. You can now play Earthbound and its prequel, Earthbound Beginnings, which is again a good thing because that game is fucking impossible to find. It's really good, but like I mean, I've seen box copies can go for like thousands of dollars. Like
Holy
it's a
cow.
very hard game. So and again, it's a cult classic, so it's really cool that they're throwing both of those up there. They still won't fucking translate the third game and bring it to America for some reason because Nintendo being weird. Um, but the fact that those two are available to play again right now as we're sitting here is a big deal.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is.
Uh, and then probably their biggest announcement, aside from the Mario Kart thing, was they announced Xenoblade Chronicles 3 for this September even. So no one had any idea about any of this. So this one really came out of nowhere. But yeah, it's the third in the Xenoblade Chronicles, well, sort of fourth, I guess, depending on how you count Xenoblade Chronicles X. But
Mhm.
uh, I mean, it's a big open world JRPG. Um, it's been a pretty big hitter on the Switch. You can play all three of them. Xenoblade Chronicles they re-released on the Switch, and then Xenoblade Chronicles 2 came out shortly after the Switch launched. So that was 2017, I think. They might have come out in 2018. So it's been about 4 years, and we're finally getting another one, which is cool. With a lot of flute. I don't know what that was about, but Like half the trailer is a dude playing the flute. I don't know. I don't
That's
know what that was about, but a lot of and we skipped some stuff, but that was probably the biggest stuff out of that Nintendo Direct that happened, and it's again it was kind of funny, with all this acquisition news that Nintendo's just like, look at all of these games, and it's just like it's all cool stuff that I'm more or less excited about, and everyone's like, oh, why is Nintendo buying people? It's like, well, apparently they don't really need to because they have this.
that's always been Nintendo's MO though. They've always kind of just done their own thing. They haven't ever worried about
Oh
what
yeah,
other companies are doing.
yeah, they
So
were very much focused on them and not what everyone else is doing around them.
it is nice to
Yeah.
see that they're staying to their roots and they're not trying to compete with Xbox and Sony. They're competitors in a way, but they're not competing in a sense that they're trying to go up and buy everybody also.
Yeah, right. They're doing it their own way. They're
Yep,
following their own path, so to speak.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so since we mentioned it in last episode, the Halo TV show has actually already been renewed for a second season.
Yes.
And it's not even,
It's not
season
even-
one's not even out yet, right?
No, that usually happens when the investors and the showrunners and just all the big honchos behind the show or movies even see it for the first time in all of its glory. Probably, I would imagine every episode, and they're so impressed that they're like, "Hey, here you go.
That
Sequel's
is-
confirmed. Let's do it."
To me, that's like really ballsy to do though, because I'm not saying that it will, it probably won't, especially if, the investors and everybody else liked it. If it came out and flopped though, that'd almost be like shooting yourself in the foot.
Well, I mean, they can take it back, but
Yeah.
I mean, the other side to that is that they threw they had one of the trailers during the Super Bowl. One, they're throwing a lot of weight behind this, and two, I mean, there's a bit more ways to track it now with Twitter and Facebook and all the other social media. Like I'm sure people are talking about it and hashtagging it and all that jazz. So they probably have some early metrics saying like people are going to want to try to watch this show and are going to come and watch this show. Sonic the Hedgehog, the second movie, is coming out soon. They apparently have already greenlit a third movie, and they're giving Knuckles his own TV show on Paramount Plus, which I don't know. That just seems weird.
That kind of sounds like a cash grab for Paramount Plus.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Paramount. Yeah, I mean, Paramount Plus is definitely pushing itself into. I mean, they're trying to beef up their service and then I mean, yeah, even then on that, Netflix just announced a new BioShock movie that they have in the works. I have very mixed feelings about this.
I hope it would bring a horror factor. It has to, right? I mean, that's the only way it would be good, because that's how the games were. I mean, at least the first BioShock was terrifying a bit. Had a fear factor to it. Terror factor, fear factor,
Yeah, to a point it does. I mean, it's part of that is just because of the world it's set in is in Rapture, the
Underwater kingdom.
yeah, you're stuck underwater in this place that's falling apart, and you are alone. Like no one is really there to help you. But the problem is that Hollywood in general has been throwing around a BioShock movie almost since the game came out in 2007. Like without spoiling anything, I'll try and avoid it just in case somehow somebody hasn't been spoiled for it. You should just go play BioShock 1, honestly.
It'd be crazy if people haven't.
But just in case, like the narrative of that game is so tied to what a game is. I don't know how you recreate that in a movie form.
Uncharted isn't the movie director potentially wanting to work on a Jack and Dexter movie?
Yeah, Ruben Fleischer has apparent. Well, what was weird is Tom Holland said he would love to star in a Jack and Dexter movie, which is weird enough. And then apparently, shortly after that, it got like kind of confirmed that Ruben Fleischer was working on it, and so now Tom Holland wants to star in it. I mean, but whether or not that actually is true or pans out, we're still a ways away from, because again, like they just finished Uncharted, so they would have to put this together, write it, yada yada. Capcom added to threw out like 3 countdown timers in like 2 days. One of them led
Serious?
to the release of an online museum for the Resident Evil franchise, which is pretty cool.
Oh wow.
Um,
Okay.
so it's literally just online, and you can go look at all this old concept art and original design drawings and stuff like that of like all the old Resident Evil games. I don't think it's all up yet, but they're adding more. So that's cool for Resident Evil fans. You can see some of the original like script documents and
It is neat.
art design and stuff like that. Like apparently one of the big things that came out was that there's a picture of Leon Kennedy, the main character from Resident Evil 2 and 4 and 6, is him looking like basically like an 90s anime protagonist, and he's like got really spiked up hair and like he's got like belt buckles all over him and shit. Like
That's amazing.
like he looks ridiculous. That was cool. They haven't announced the other one yet. The other one's still counting down. Rumor is it's going to be something Street Fighter related because it's tied to the end of the Street Fighter Pro tournament circuit thing that's happening.
Oh.
But everyone's guessing it's going to be Street Fighter 6 or some other Street Fighter collection or some such. But we'll see on that one. And then also pseudo relating to Resident Evil is supposedly for forever now. There's been rumors of a Resident Evil 4 remake, like what they've done with Resident Evil 2 and 3. And rumor is that they're going to be not only remaking it in that vein, but also like changing a bit more of it up. Because Resident Evil 4 was known for being a bit more action oriented, which is a real term for the franchise at the time.
They
And
took
now,
it away from the horror, right?
yeah, which worked at the time, but it sort of shot them in the foot later on. So now they're supposedly this rumored remake is going to be a bit more horror focused.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That'll be neat. That's where the series belongs, though. I mean, that's where the callback for me, being a kid and seeing that game for the first time, my uncle playing it, and I couldn't play it. Like that game terrified the living crap out of me.
I mean, yeah, Resident Evil 4 was a big turning point for the franchise. But then, and it's still a great game despite its kind of lack of horror. Or well, it's not as horror-y. It's definitely more actiony, but it still is a horror game. That's the game that taught me to be wary of headshots, for God's sake. Ugh. But yeah, so we'll see what comes of that. But again, they still haven't even announced this supposed Resident Evil 4 remake yet. So who's to say?
Quick mention, I guess. Call of Duty 20, Activision, Infinity Ward specifically, they announced the sequel to what do you call it? Modern Warfare 2019. So this year's Call of Duty will be a sequel, direct sequel. Technically, Modern Warfare 2. They haven't released a name for it yet.
Yeah, we don't know.
That we don't know what the name is, but they did confirm it's a direct sequel to Modern Warfare 2019, and it's gonna bring in a whole new array of changes to the Call of Duty franchise, which is what they say all the time about every Call of Duty game.
To include, they're going to be completely redoing Warzone.
Oh, yep.
Which should be out either later this year or early next year, and kind of go hand in hand with that. I don't remember who exactly it was. Josh, you know better than I do, but some team at Activision, or if it was all the teams at Activision, admitted to and essentially intentionally fucking up Warzone as we know it.
It was directly Raven.
No, it was Infinity Ward.
Was it Infinity Ward? Well,
yeah, they said Warzone had been turned in. I mean, it's weird because they technically say that they fucked up, which is
they really did.
I mean, they did and they didn't, because I mean, it got passed around to people like Warzone was in trouble the second it left Infinity Ward's hands.
Absolutely.
And they tried to change, switch developers. So then those developers had to learn how to work on Warzone and learn all the shit behind it. And then, they changed it to have the next year's Call of Duty's weapons. And then they did it again recently with Vanguard.
Yep.
Which is this whole shit show. And so this ideally is they're going to make, I mean, I guess, I don't know if they're going to actually call it like Warzone 2 or what the hell they're going to do entirely.
Yeah, it's called Warzone 2, essentially, is what they've confirmed.
But yeah, like basically they admitted that, he said they fucked up, but in reality it should have been that it got fucked up.
It did, because okay, so the array of the issues, if we, can nail it down quickly, is So when it left Infinity Ward's hands, it was built on what Infinity Ward, the engine that they used for Modern Warfare, all that stuff. So when they passed it down to to what is it, Raven Software that took over to
It
that
went to Raven
studio
eventually. Yeah.
eventually. Yeah, that's right, because it had no
I think,
studio really working at it for a time. I think it
I
was just kind
think
of like bondled around,
no, I think they
fondled.
passed it. I think they tried to pass it to
Sledgehammer
Treyarch.
had
Treyarch.
it at one point.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know
because it
Sledgehammer
was
had at one
Treyarch.
point. And so did Treyarch, because that's when they tried to update it to Black
That's
Ops
right, because
or
that's what
uh,
happened. Yeah.
whatever the fuck Treyarch one
It
was.
it
Cold
was
War.
Black Ops Cold War was done on an
Yeah.
old engine that they originally used to do Modern Warfare 2 back in the day. Um, so that alone presents issues like how in the hell are you going to transport weapons into a completely different engine? I mean, that's where the issue started, and then as it passed down to the next developer, which was Sledgehammer, with this Vanguard, it just and that's why they came out admitting like, hey, with all the stuff we added in, we got in so deep. There was just every time we would fix a bug, it would create a new cascade of issues because nothing was truly tested before they put it into the game, obviously.
No, they would
But
just release an update without any testing, and then once issues became known, they would half-ass fix those issues and then push another update, throwing
yeah, I mean,
more broken stuff on top of what's already broken.
yeah, and it's just, I mean, it's been a cascade of, it's been a shit show for a long time. Me and Tim here haven't played it in almost like 3 months, going on four. And with the announcement of Warzone 2, and console communities finally getting their answers of FOV slider and everything getting pro, but this is only pertaining to next gen stuff, by the way. And with the new Call of Duty, they also mentioned that there's a new sandbox mode, and the rumor is that it's an attempt at a Escape from Tarkov, which is a popular PC title at the moment, which is
Uh,
interesting.
yeah, I mean, a sandbox mode can be a lot of things. It's just an open-ended thing, and them just saying it is
Yeah.
kind of nothing until we actually know what it is.
Yeah. So take that with a grain of salt. Rumors are rumors.
On the upside of it, though, Microsoft has confirmed that as of currently, they are going to release future Activision Blizzard games uh, on other platforms, despite even after like there's some existing contracts for Call of Duty and stuff for the next like 3 years, I think is what it was. But so Microsoft has openly said that even past that, they are going to keep trying to keep Activision multi-platform.
Yeah.
And then finally, some some extra fun news, to put it poorly, about Battlefield 2042. Is just this dumpster fire keeps rolling downhill and nobody's trying to put it out.
No,
um,
it's bad. It really is.
it's real bad and it just keeps getting worse. Yeah, now there's like a petition online that's, I think it's over 100,000 signatures now or close to it, of people demanding refunds for the game,
Oh,
because
really?
it's yeah, because it's still missing features, it still doesn't work, it's still borderline non-functional.
And that rumor of it
Um,
being free to play or going free to play, oh, that would be such a slap to the people who bought that game.
I mean, if it goes free to play, like they would have to hand out stuff to people who've already paid for it.
Oh my God.
Whether or not it would be worth it is up for
Yeah.
debate. But um,
Yeah, at this point, it's not even worth the download space on your hard
oh yeah,
drive.
not at all.
It's such a disappointment. I loved Battlefield games, and that I've never, I mean, like Brenden here with his hate for Call of Duty, I've never really experienced disappointment in a large first person shooter, but this one hit for me. This one was I was disappointed. It's such an empty game.
Well, I
It
mean,
was poorly executed. The maps all suck. There's nothing in them. They were just in my opinion, most of the maps in the portfolio of Battlefield 2042 that are available are sorry excuses for maps. They're empty, big maps that I think they put in there because they were easy to make and easy to get into this, get in there to have as options.
well,
That's
part
just
of
my
that
take.
Well, part of that is the other side to this. Is there was investor call, which is where some of this other news came from, with you know, the top brass at EA about what was going on with Battlefield 2042 and this, that, and the other, and they're like, we stated it before, I think in our last news episode, that they had said it was a disappointment and didn't meet their expectations, and then somebody asked him to elaborate on that, and he was like, well, uh, it didn't sell as well as we wanted it to, and uh, and then they just started throwing blame at stuff for why the game didn't do as well. Like they blamed Halo Infinite's
Oh
free
God.
multiplayer coming out like 2 days um, before Battlefield did. They're like, well, that's really hurt our sales and our player count. And I'm like, well, there's truth to that.
That's a small margin though, because
Well,
Battlefield was
yeah,
so anticipated by so many
Is
people.
to
So
say
that wasn't even a thought,
that's just
really.
a sorry excuse. Their AAA
Yeah.
title,
it's
that game was anticipated by everybody to come out. To sit there and say that, oh, Halo ruined our launch. Okay, well, Halo's only on Xbox. What are you
Yeah,
trying to say?
Halo's
What's your
this
excuse
is
for PlayStation?
multi-platform. Exactly. Exactly. It's multi-platform. And
Yeah,
it was so anticipated and such in a running to compete against this Call of Duty rave and crazy Warzone
right.
ass shit show that's been going on.
It's not
There's no
some.
way.
They're
Yeah.
not some indie studio that happened to release the game the same day that Halo came out. This is a AAA title. Dice is a major company. Like, no.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. So they try to throw some blame on that, which, I mean, we all agree is dumb as hell. I mean, I think there is some truth to it. Like dropping a free to play game like 2 days before your launch probably did hurt their player count a little bit. I won't argue that.
Yeah.
But is it part of the reason that the game bombed? Absolutely not. Because
No.
again, that
No.
game doesn't function.
No,
And
it does not. It's bad. It's
and
still
like
bad. I mean,
yeah, and word of mouth on it is poor. Like almost nobody's recommending it. It bombed critically. It didn't do well commercially.
older Battlefield titles have larger player counts than it currently, and still, and it's just like that.
Well, yeah, and they wanted it to release, in fucking November. Like this is what happens when you throw a game, especially that is unfinished like this was, into one of the busiest, not one of the busiest release season every year. Like if you're releasing a game between like mid to end of October and between that and Christmas, like that is where everybody tries to throw their big AAA hot releases for the year for the most part. And so they threw it in there with, I mean, Call of Duty, which turned out to just be kind of more Call of Duty. But then yeah, Halo came out with its multiplayer that's free to play, and then also the single player came out down the road, and then all the other games that released in that storm that happens every freaking November. Like,
Yeah,
if they'd have just delayed the game by like 6 months or something, like,
yeah,
I
they
mean, it'd
could
still
have.
be trash because
Yeah,
it's been almost 6 months now, and they still
yeah.
haven't fucking fixed it.
I
But,
wouldn't have had hopes. It needed at least 2 more years of
uh,
work.
well, I mean,
That
that was also part of it. Is like, they had this deadline because EA was insistent about getting the game out before the end of the year, and Dice and I'm sure a lot of people within Dice were like, this game is not ready, but we have to put it out. Like, we have a contract. They are our bosses, and they're saying it needs to be out in whatever state it's in. So, maybe if this had another year and a half or whatever, instead of them forcing out a Battlefield to try and make some big bonus on Andrew Wilson's check or whatever the hell else the rest of the board of directors
yeah.
like
I,
it's the only reason this game was forced to come out in the state that it was in is because they had a deadline and Electronic Arts demanded it, and then Dice was like, well, we have to, like, we don't have a choice. And so they, as much as it sucks, like, they put out, I mean, it sounds sad, but they put out the best thing that they could at the time.
And
well,
I hope this
God,
was a learning lesson for Dice and EA.
but
I
what?
don't know how EA hasn't learned this lesson yet. I really don't. After Andromeda, after Anthem, after even after the last Battlefield, like, they are just doing this over and over and over again, and I don't understand.
I mean,
I
I
this is
mean,
probably a
okay.
really deep rabbit hole we could get down. Because
Oh
I do
yeah,
have
it
some
is.
theories I'd love to throw out, but that's going to be for another time.
But
Yeah.
this is what scares me, specifically changing into the next topic. Tim, you had mentioned this the other day, and I think Brendan, you too, is with that dumpster fire and their they Tim, you said this. They had announced EA came out saying that Dragon Age was in looking good, and whatever you had mentioned. If that's the case, and they're coming out and saying this during the dumpster fire issue that they're having with Battlefield, I hope to God they're not coming out and saying that because they're trying to rush production to get that game out, potentially ruining that. That's what
Oh,
I'm scared of.
yeah, hopefully not. Yeah, rumor is Dragon Age 4 is well into development and is in good shape. And I mean, they still said that but most likely wouldn't release until the end of 2023. So we're still almost 2 years away from that. Like, so
Okay,
it's
thank
it's still going
God.
to be. They said there's an off chance it might release like mid to early 2023, but that doesn't really seem likely.
Okay.
Um,
That's the only fear I have is Tim, when you mentioned that the other day, I
Yeah.
was like, oh, dear God, no, please.
I'm hoping that it's a lesson that they need to learn and that they need to just kind of pull back on some of this stuff. I have a bit more faith for Dragon Age, especially because again, like,
It's Dragon Age.
well, yeah, and BioWare already had Anthem and Andromeda. Like their last two games literally went through the same problems of launch issue woes and problems and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
um, I have a bit more hopes for this one. I mean, outside of my own personal bias of enjoying Dragon Age, but
I was gonna say that's one of your
I,
favorite series.
I do love that franchise, and I do look forward to it, and I do want Dragon Age 4 to be good, and I will wait. Like, if anybody at EA is listening, I will wait. You can postpone that game till infinity. Just make it come out fine and work and be
Please,
good. That's
yes.
it. Like,
Inquisition was my I guess you could say my true introduction to the Dragon Age series, and I
it's
absolutely loved it. So
it's probably most
please,
people's at this point.
yes, please let this Dragon Age 4 be a success.
We'll
Only
see.
time will tell, I guess, at this point.
True.
Seriously.
So I think if you guys don't have anything else, we're gonna wrap this one up.
No, we pretty much covered everything.
All
Yeah,
right.
pretty much.
So there's again a shit ton more news. It just seems like every day more and more is dropping. And we'll cover it as it comes out. But anyways, in the meantime, Brendan, what are you playing? Actually, I know what you're
Horizon.
playing, and I hate you for it.
No, what you are is jealous. You don't hate me for it.
Well, yes.
But yeah, I'm playing Horizon Forbidden West. Just came out a couple days ago as of us recording this. So I am. God, I think I already put like 10 hours into that game.
Jeez.
No, wait, that's not true. I lied. My game completion percentage is like 10%. I think I've put like 7 hours in.
Okay.
But yeah, it's. I mean, I mean, it sounds kind of lazy to say it or reductive, but it's really just more Horizon, and then they did a lot of quality of life stuff. Uh,
Which, if you've
oh
ever
my God,
played
the
Horizon,
stash.
if you've ever played Horizon, more Horizon is not a bad thing at this point.
Very
No,
true.
not at all. Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I'm really working on at the moment. Josh, what are you working on? What are you playing?
Currently next gen version of Cyberpunk. So this is going to be the wholesome, what I like to consider my wholesome playthrough, where I really beat everything I could possibly do in that game, and I'm enjoying it so far. Especially with all the new, you know, enhancements and all that stuff. So that's currently my. I think I've put at least 10 hours, 12 hours
So you have
solidly
to put
into it
more in
so
that
far.
because I know I have over 10 hours into it.
I might be pushing 20. I've been like going off no sleep playing it kinda, to be
Yeah,
honest.
you've been playing more than me.
What about you, Tim? What's
Of course, like I said, I was not going to play Cyberpunk until the next gen release. It's out. I'm playing it. Unfortunately, that means Skyrim has been put on the back burner. This might be another one of those indefinite put on the back burners where I pick it up again in 3 years and restart again. We'll see.
Yep.
And then Horizon Zero Dawn, because I'm not lucky enough to play Forbidden West. Whatever. But no, Cyberpunk and Horizon still the two, and then dabbling in my simulators as I get.
And we got Elden Ring coming out Friday. I mean,
Well,
we're in trouble, dude.
well, that'll be on next
We
episode.
are in trouble.
Next episode, I'll make mention of Elden Ring.
Oh god.
Anyways, I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, 5 stars, thumbs up, comment. We're on Twitter at COG Podcast, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Facebook, Stitcher. Again, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next time.
Later, guys.
Thanks for listening.